Do you remember this card? You probably do. Actually, you probably had one yourself. But did you know that there's 6 different versions of this card? I'll go through each one in detail. Alright, so let's just start in chronological order. The first Ancient Mew cards to be released were Ancient Mew 1 and Ancient Mew 2. They came in a cool little pamphlet and they were made to commemorate the revelation of Lugia film in Japan. When it came over to North America though, they renamed it to Pokemon 2000. Now, there are 2 different versions of the original Ancient Mew card, Ancient Mew 1 and Ancient Mew 2. Ancient Mew 1 has a glitter foil pattern and Ancient Mew 2 has a cosmos foil pattern. But there is one more difference. The Ancient Mew 1 had an error, a typo in the copyright. It said Nintendo instead of Nintendo. It was missing the N. So they corrected that typo and that resulted in a third variant of the original Mew. And so if you're wondering, the most sought after and expensive variant tends to be the misprint, the Nintendo Ancient Mew. That's what collectors want. So those are the first 3 out of Japan. Now onto the Ancient Mew you probably had when you were a kid. This is called the Ancient Mew International release, or the international version. And it's actually identical to the Japanese one. I mean, let's be real, the language on the front is made up and the reverse is entirely unique. The only difference is that the copyright date is 2000 instead of 1999. Oh, and our international version was the Ancient Mew 2 from Japan, the Cosmos foil version. We never actually got a glitter foil version. So unfortunately, your Ancient Mew card you got when you were a kid isn't really worth that much today. You can get a mint one on eBay for under 50 bucks, sometimes still sealed in the wrapper. But if you want a PSA 10 copy of your old Ancient Mew, then you're gonna have to pay big bucks. Why? Well, Ancient Mew is notoriously difficult to grade out of 10 because the front and the back are both foil. That means it was super susceptible to light scratches and damage. Oh, and fun fact, Ancient Mew is one of 2 Pokemon cards ever to have a foil back, the other being the Imakuni Trade Please promo from Japan. So far, that is 4 different versions. We have the 3 Japanese versions and the 1 international version from when you were a kid. But there are still 2 more. Do you remember the original Pokemon movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back? Well, if you didn't know, they remade it in 2019 and it's awesome. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. But you probably see where this is going. With the remake of the original movie, we got a re-release of the original Ancient Mew card. Now, this was Japan only once again, and it was the glitter foil version. And again, it's pretty much identical, but the copyright will say 2019. Oh, and another cool thing they did was they released it in a pamphlet again that looked a lot like the original pamphlet. So that was really cool. It was kind of like you could travel back in time and maybe bring your kids so they could have the same experience that we had. But the Korean version of the film was delayed and it came to Korea a year later, which means we got another version of the Ancient Mew card. So this time it has a copyright date of 2020 instead of 2019, but again, otherwise identical. Oh, and the Korea version didn't come in a pamphlet, it came in a cellophane wrapper. Wow, there are a lot of parallels to the original Japanese North American release. Alright, so let's recap. We have Ancient Mew 1, we have Ancient Mew 2, we have Ancient Mew 1 corrected, we have the international release, we have the 2019 Ancient Mew, and the 2020 Ancient Mew, otherwise known as the Korean version. So those are the 6 different versions of the one-of-a-kind Ancient Mew card. I hope you learned something, and you'll see me in the next video.